oh, why did it break down? Yeah, so I think it was, so is there a way I can find the site? I think it was kind of like, I mean, the point is that to write it down, it's not a big program, right? This is the entire program to write it down. But then the problem is when it's counting these strings to 1,000, it has to come up with an X that would make that true, and that's kind of a lot of it has to kind of go through this method forward and think I have to make all these constraints work out. I mean, in general, it's also not very good at multiplication, like even simple problems with linearity, and here it's more like a problem with I mean, these definitions are not meant to be reverted, they're going one way. And we have to yeah. So I just maybe wanted to show one last thing about pushing from, so thinking of Daphne as a super powered whole logic language, what can we do with LLMs as well? And here, this example is basically automatically generated, actually by Llama 3. And it works, and this code snippet was provided by like a routine that kind of automatically generates the inductive sketch based on things like this. And it can kind of work in tandem with like this edit. So I had this previous system called VermCTS, which was doing left to right editing and checking with LLMs checking the work of LLMs at the step, and that worked okay, but I was trying to think of a more structural way to do the edits. And so, for example, this Daphne sketcher can do, like this is a proof of type safety of simply type family calculus in Daphne, and then using the sketcher, it will kind of, if you do the one that searches, it tries to find the best inductive sketch possible, the one with the fewer remaining things to prove. And you can see that this sketch is fairly, it's proved everywhere, except for this case where we know that you have to kind of call the substitution lemma, and then you can just figure this out. Maybe I can even get Copilot to figure it out, but it's just I guess it's something like that. But anyway, so these are ideas for how to combine things, and you can see that when it's trying to generate the programming steps, it's basically so like top LLMs can do this kind of thing, but these even Llama 3.3 has a bit of trouble. But by guiding it with the verifier, it's able to actually do as well as Gemini or something like this. So let me see. So this is the transcript from what it did. And you can see that the beginning program here I give it has the spec part, but it doesn't have, it's actually generated the code for the evaluator. It had some mistakes, but basically by having these micro edits that are forced to be correct, it's kind of like converging to the right solution at the end. So I just wanted to show that. So yeah, so in short today we saw a few things. So the main takeaway is that we've seen this way of like using multi-stage programming with examples in Scala LMS. And this is to turn interpreters into compilers and to collapse stars and interpreters into one-pass compilers, even when there's reflection. And I think the idea from staging can really have with thinking about, in general, specialization, or in general, thinking in stages about your code can be a very helpful device, especially when you're doing metaprogramming, code manipulation, and things like that. I guess it's kind of maybe a little conflated, but I would say like people think of phases of a compiler or passes of a compiler, or like, yeah, I guess these words are kind of like used in a lot of different ways. What I can say is that staging itself can be used to describe a very precise notion of like your code is actually executed in multiple stages, even though it looks like, if you look at it, it looks like one piece of code, and often really the quality that you want to have in the stage code is that the point is that if you erase the stages, so like let's see what it is. Yeah, so if you erase those rep types, your programs behave identically. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like they're also in partial evaluation, they're called dynamic and static, so there's also that connection. Yeah. Yeah.